Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Foodie Fantasy Pod. Um, Today, we'll be discussing like the Newcastle takeover. Of course, that's the hottest news right now everywhere. We'll also do a conceptual type episode where we are going to do some of our topics we've had in our background. We'll bring up from time to time. It's usually I call it the international break Twitter topic or like the hot topic where people talk about top 10 this, top 10 that. Today, we top 10 managers in the world right now. Before we get to that section, let me say if you're watching this, stop everything you're doing, like, share, subscribe to our pod. Um, I'll start with a guest, first time this season on. I know we'll say last season time. Raji, thanks for joining us, Newcastle fan.
Thank you very much. I'm always happy to join you on this irregular moments, and I'm glad Newcastle has its time to shine today.
Okay. I'm glad for you guys for sure. Our in-house Bayern Bundesliga Pep expert. He's only here because of anytime there's Pep matters. He's always here. He jumps on quickly. How you
Yeah,
doing?
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Uh, Before we go further, I know we have a lot of people that will jump on later. Let me just ask you, Raji, how did you feel the moment that broke? That Mike Ashley was gone and you guys were getting the takeover and getting influx of money. How was your feeling at that moment?
So we've this takeover has been going on for almost 4 years now. So every single year we get close to signing, and people would be like, "Oh, it's gonna happen next week, and it's gonna happen 2 days from now. It's gonna be in the news 3 weeks from now, and all of that stuff." But it never happened. So when I got the news earlier this week, on Tuesday, that there was a chance that Newcastle would be bought, I said, I'm not entirely sure that's possibly going to happen. The interesting thing was it started off about a week ago after they announced, or 2 weeks ago after they announced that a deal had been reached about the piracy issue between Qatar and Saudi Arabia. And, it's in your mind, but you don't really think too much about it. And then, over the course of 2 days, things just changed overnight. And like every Newcastle fan, the sense of elation was overwhelming. I think that the most important thing that we've missed out in our club for the last 14 years is the lack of ambition and the lack of hope. And for the time being, Amanda Staveley has come out today and she's made some really nice comments about Newcastle aiming to compete for the Premiership again. For 14 years, we could never have done that, and we've had a number of coaches, including Steve Bruce, who's come out to say like, "Hey, Newcastle is not as big as Bournemouth," which is very weird. So yes, I'm excited for the
Who said that?
future. Huh?
Steve said Newcastle not as big as
No,
Bournemouth.
no, no. He didn't technically say that, but he was saying things. He was indicating that the ambition, because they would ask him like, "Do you want to go get some players? What about this player that you're competing with Bournemouth for, or this team that Norwich?" And he would say that we don't have the funds to be able to buy a player that Norwich will be able to get. So it then becomes, are we competing at that level? And it just felt weird. Newcastle used to be in the Champions League, and we fired a coach for coming fifth. And now they're trying to tell us that Newcastle is a small club, and that we deserve to be 14th or 15th every season. So it's a kind of a weird situation. Yeah, that's everybody's happy for now.
Okay, it was up for now. Okay. I guess follow-up questions I have regarding that is news has kind of come out. I mean, I don't know if it's breaking news, but rumors are out that they're getting Ralph Ragnick as director of football and they're going to fire Steve Bruce. I saw that today actually on the Telegraph, and they're pretty reliable people, journalists. They might fire him for like literally before the international break.
Yeah, I think that What I'm hearing right now is that they don't want him to tarnish the first game.
Okay.
So the expectation is that they're going to get a new coach in. Before, most likely, what is probably going to happen is that for the Tottenham game that is going to be happening, it's going to be headed by Graham Jones. And in the next 2 weeks, we're going to find out who the new manager is. I don't think that you should pay attention to anybody that they're throwing out. They're throwing names left and right, and it's because agents are working the newspapers. So I think that in this scenario, you want to wait and see what is going to happen with the club.
Okay. I guess for me, the last thing I want to ask you is, how quickly do you think? Okay, two things. First one is about what are your thoughts about the fact that it's the controversy behind the takeover, the Saudi, the allegations that they have, their connections to, I guess, all the crimes that they have, in Saudi, and PIF coming out to say they're different entity, PIF and Saudi states are a different entity. And how do you feel about that generally? Humanitarian allegations behind all of this.
I'm going to tell you what I think. Yeah. I think it's not my business, and it's not the responsibility of any member of the Newcastle fan club to be answering governmental questions. If it's a situation where the British government was not working with the Saudi government, and it was just like Newcastle was just out of the blue, then you can make that argument and say, what do I really think about this? But the thing about it is PIF is involved in almost every single thing we're using. It's involved in Facebook, Uber. It's basically ubiquitous right now. They're just trying to find a storyline that they're going to use to bombard Newcastle fans, make them feel bad about this. I don't think it's the responsibility of a Newcastle fan to talk about human rights. If they have a problem with human rights, then we should do it from the governmental level. We're not going to send a petition from St. James Park to the Saudi government to solve human rights. That's what I think.
Okay. That's an interesting take. I suspect Ola or Dio, any of you, maybe Ola, you have any opinion regarding
this? Well, congratulations, Raji. Really. Can you guys hear me?
Thank you.
Yes,
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Honestly, the answer you gave is what I would give in the same situation. I don't err on the side of being sanctimonious when it comes to these things, because, like you rightly pointed out, Saudi investment is in a lot of areas in many countries. Nobody was pulling America up when America was selling billions of dollars in weapons to Saudi Arabia. American fans are not going to say we're going to stop watching, or we're going to give up watching football because our government have been selling billions of dollars worth of weapons to Saudi Arabia. I don't know why people expect football. Football is a reflection of wider society. I have this issue also when it comes to racism, where people think football should be the thing solving racism, and now people are thinking football should be the thing solving human rights abuses. That's, for me, it's not what football is supposed to be about. Football should be a good tool towards a solution for those things, but we can't expect football to be the sole way in which racism, human rights abuses can be tackled, because football is a reflection of society in general. So I'm not going to be on the side of being sanctimonious and preachy, because at the end of the day, I'm sure if the Saudis came over to take over Liverpool, some of our fans will give up and say they're not following. But I can assure you, maybe 90% of, because you remember DIC, there was, just before FSG took over, there was a DIC consortium. The Saudis were also interested in Liverpool. So I can't say now that, because Saudi have taken over, PIF have taken over Newcastle, I'll start being hypocritical. Because at that time, I wanted those people to take over Liverpool because our previous owners were terrible. where it comes into it for me, where the fans have a say, and where I supported United fans when United fans were kicking against owners, where I think the problem lies is when the owners are in danger of putting a club out of existence, or where the owners are definitely taking advantage of a club, like what United owners were doing, like what Liverpool ex-owners were doing, like we've seen with Derby County, even with Burnley. We see owners who come into clubs and use the club's money to purchase the club and load debt onto the club. That's when I will be on the side of the fans who want owners out of the club, but not based on human rights. All these billionaires, let us be clear here. Not all of the money, all these billionaires are own all clubs. Not all of the money is clean. Let's just be honest. Some of them would have done some shady stuff. Not all of them have clean hands, man. Not all of them have clean hands. I'm not saying some of them.
I'm not saying some of them are involved in murder.
Yeah, look at Abramovich. We can kick off about all these things. We can be judgy. Yes, it's true. Maybe Saudi have committed human rights abuses. It's true. Yeah, there's evidence to that. But I don't expect us to think football will be the one that will call them to order. Like Raji said, let the British government, who have been taking billions of Saudi investment, let them call them to order. It shouldn't be up to football fans to be saying, "Oh, you people, it's not up to us." The government should be the one stepping in that situation. So that's what I think.
Okay, very good thoughts. My own quick thoughts are for sure. Like I said, Mike Ashley has been. I said this before, really months ago. I think Mike Ashley has been not a very good owner. He's like run the club badly, and I'm happy for Newcastle fans that they've got him out of the club on one part of it. I also think the ownership thing is a long time, right? It should have been stopped from if they really care about, like, if the UK government, like Raji said, really care about like source of money from the days of Roman to like Shinwata, Man City owner initially before they sold to the Qatars, like all of that should have been stopped then, or should have been, but they didn't check it. They didn't check it now. So this is where we are now. I am not.
But I also think that sorry, just to interject real quick. I also think that the Premiership is a privately run company, and the British government really has no say in it. They can create rules around how companies in general can work within the country, but I don't think that the British government can have a say and say, "Hey, you can't get this person hired." They police themselves, and the clubs within the organization police themselves. So I think I'm not entirely sure what the British government can do about it, unless they create rules.
Yeah, so the rules could have been created. I mean, they were ones that pretty much kind of stopped they didn't stop. No, they didn't stop it. The Premier League kind of stopped the deal. Well, that was because of the being sports. It had nothing to do with it, right? They made it clear it had nothing to do with this. What I'm saying is, if they really care about things like this, some rules, like they can make rules for the FA to follow regarding like source of money, all of this. Because for me, I'll be honest, I am on the side of the fence that it's not something that if I was a fan of, if this was Manchester United, and I'm not saying Newcastle fans should think the way I think, I would not be happy about like that source of funds and being linked to something like that. I would not be. Will I still support my club? Absolutely. Will I be happy when we get the funds to improve the club, buy better players, get back to winning? Because it's a big club. 50,000, one city club. Yeah, one city club. Newcastle is the only out of the Premier League. So it's been a falling giant for so many years, and it's an opportunity for them to come back up. So
I'll just tell you one thing that I'm very worried about. When Mike actually bought the club, he promised a lot of things. He bought a club 14 years ago, and in 2008 he put the club up for sale, and it's been perpetually on sale, off sale for a long time. But the problem is, when Mike Ashley had the club, we knew that there was somebody richer that could buy it from him, But now that it's owned by the PIF, if the PIF decides that they will never let Newcastle United go, there's nobody who can challenge that, because if it's a financial thing, who can pay what the PIF would consider the worth of Newcastle to be? So it becomes a vassal club for an organization. And unless the federal or the British government gets involved and says, severs the ties, it's going to be difficult for anybody else to get access to Newcastle, especially if the interest in the club wanes from the PIF group and they decide to focus on other things. We might never be able to get out of their grasp. That's the thing I'm worried about. But everything is good right now. Let's see where it goes.
So I'll take comments. Then we'll talk about football. I'm going to ask you. So think about my next question. I'll ask you. I'll ask Dario. I'll ask Yemi. My next question is: in the next 2 years, right? Because maybe 1 year, a year, 2 years from now, what are your expectations? Just think about it while I take the comments. Someone says, "Big up to all of you." Yes, Jola. Says Yemi is still driving from the last podcast. Yemi, does he have been driving?
Was that
It was
Jola?
like 2 weeks ago.
Jola is throwing shades on his birthday.
I got comment. Thanks for the comments. Joannu, Arsenal fan said, I beg.
Today is
I don't
Jola's
blame you.
birthday, and he still has time to be throwing shades at the moment. Wow.
Okay, so Raji, quickly, what are your expectations regarding the restructuring which is coming? It looks like it,
Yeah.
What do you expect results, right? Like, do you expect in 2 seasons, maybe not next season, like you guys are competing for top 4, compete for the title, like some people are already saying, because people are getting Mbappe, getting everybody is going to be playing three. I saw one formation online. There's this video. I actually wanted to play the video. Like this video, Newcastle. I couldn't find
I
it.
saw the video too.
I saw the video.
The one that Kante was the goalkeeper,
Correct.
and they had 5 strikers.
I saw that. I was like, wow.
I'm going to tell you the truth.
Top 4 in 2 seasons.
I don't see Newcastle being competing for the Premiership for at least 3 years. I don't think that Newcastle is going to be afforded unlimited funds. I think that we're going to have an injection of funds in January, and there's going to be a lot of investment around things around Newcastle, like the training area, like the city trying to invest in facilities to help kids learn how to play soccer or football all around Newcastle. I think that's where the investments are going to mostly go initially. There's going to be investment. They're going to get 1 or 2 marquee signings in January, and they'll probably get 1 or 2 in the summer, and they'll probably buy a lot of smaller players to facilitate or improve the squad generally. But I think that this is going to be a project, and I don't think that we'll be competing. So think of it like this: Newcastle was 13th last season. Newcastle probably will be 17th this season. But next season, they'll be aiming for 10th. And I think that that's where we should be focusing on. 10th, 8th, 5th, and then maybe we'll start to compete. But this stuff is not a quick thing. No matter how much money you throw at it, Newcastle has infrastructure that is crumbling and is not in a good shape, and they need to build things from the ground up to attract any of these big players that people are talking about. Mbappe is not going to come to Newcastle unless they have a reason to come. So that's all I have.
That's what you have. Okay. Dio, I'll let you guys quiet. What do you think?
Okay. I'll take it from the beginning. Like, I don't have a problem with the kind of people in quote that took over Newcastle. I think some of the people, I'm not talking about her in particular, but some of the people that complain about this do this as maybe jealousy might be a reason for that too. Because even if we look at all these clubs, my club is an example. Bayern Munich keeps whining about Arab takeover, but look at my jersey. This is, what do you see here? This is
Qatar Airways.
That's Qatar Airways.
I agree.
Real Madrid will complain they have Fly Emirates on their jersey. Barcelona will complain they have Qatar. Everybody is deep with somebody that is not so clean with their money. So when is Bayern going to reject Qatar Airway money and just come clean and just say, okay, we are the holy people here. We only want Vatican and Mecca.
Even the Vatican is not clean. Even the Vatican is not clean.
So everybody should just keep quiet about that. Like, so and just so some of it is born out of beef. I can understand. We are used to the status quo. Bayern wants to be the #1 club in the world every time. So anytime all these new Saudis, Man City, Qatar come up, it upsets us. And I think that thing upset a lot of Manchester United fans too. That might have been at the root of their Glazer House thing, because they are no longer able to. They are now becoming the noisy neighbor that they are Manchester.
Please.
Okay, so back to where I expect them in the next 2 seasons. I don't really think Man City has kind of laid a template for how to invest money in a club. Like, you build it from the ground up. It's not just buy this and that. They too tried it at the beginning. They got Bogino, Velano, Corradi, all those mercenaries. And Robinho. They just got like they were just shopping from sales. They just went to Walmart and they were just looking. Oh, this item is on sale. Let's just get it. And all those players didn't do anything for them. They were just mercenaries, like they were. And so they had to go to the ground up, abandon that Takshin project, and took up the Sheikh, what's his name? Sheikh project, and they started building from the ground up, built infrastructure, got people that knew what they were doing, and they started building now. So they can now see a sustainable development over time. It's not just grabbing mercenaries, gather them for 10 games and win something. So Newcastle, I don't think they might go to Newcastle to 17th. I think they might stay at 10th position, then gradually try to approach 6th and make themselves solid top 4 in the next 2 to 3 seasons. I think that's what they will do, and that's probably the best thing to do instead of gathering all the Messi and Mbappe into a pot. PSG is probably going to find out that you don't just throw Messi, Neymar, Mbappe into a pot and they'll gel within a season. That's what I have to say.
Good point. Before we go to Yemi, Joanne says they are going to start with free transfers like Laka and Zaha. Should start a revolution. That's realistic. That makes sense. Those are smart signings, I think. The way City started. Ogakome says, in the words of the great Naira Marley.
Is this Ole Gunnar or Ole?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yemi? Thoughts?
Yes, sir. I think I'm with everybody on here. I have no issue with the Saudi takeover. And as a matter of fact, I was talking to our friend Peter and I was like, I'm happy that like Newcastle is relevant now. I mean, will be relevant in the next coming seasons because it just reminds me of the old league where like everybody was Chelsea was relevant to some extent, Liverpool, all those old household names. I would like for them to be back. And the thing there is for me is like all I'm saying is we will get to see now more quality players and more quality coaches now come to the league because of the injection of money that is going to be coming through Newcastle. We have to understand that it's almost like a country. It's almost Saudi Arabia running the country right now. So money is not a problem. So I guess in those things that they want to build and technology to listen is on their side because they have what money, which means I'm happy for where like the league is going to in terms of just being this competitive. And having said that, as per where I see them in the next 2 years, I see them being 10th in the next 2-3 years because they will still have to face out who they have right now. They have to shop from. I mean, you have to go through. It's not like free agents. You have to buy people that will enable you to buy people that will enable you to buy people that will then enable you to buy the star. Which means you have to grow from C to B plus to A plus.
Yeah.
Unless if you throw some ridiculously stupid money, just like Malaga did. Malaga did in Spanish league, and after 2 seasons they crashed. Because what they did was they came in and they just threw money at all the players. They say Griezmann, everybody. Real, I mean, like from Real Sociedad, through thousands upon thousands, they couldn't sustain it. But this is a different point because
Yeah, FFP not allow that.
yeah, FFP will not allow that. So now it has to be a gradual scan. Where I'm looking at is, are they going to hire a director of football? Are they going to hire a coach? The director of football and the coach that they hire will tell me what their plans are for the next couple of years.
Rumors are already out that they are trying to hire Ralph Ragnick.
So now, if they hire Ralph Ragnick, who do you think is going to be the coach? Who do you think Ralph Ragnick will get? Because most of his guys are actually currently working somewhere right now.
Yeah, you might pull Jesse Mark from Leipzig because Leipzig is in a bad shape right now. And it's not,
oh yes. So now listen, he pulls him out. Homeboy is going to come in and he's going to want his own players. Yeah. This is not a 1 day, 2 day project. And then we don't know where these Saudi minds are. Maybe they're looking at, hey man, we have billions upon billions. We'll buy whoever we want, but we want to start winning as of right now. The only thing I can say is I see Newcastle at least challenging for Carling Cup and FA Cup in the next 2-3 years. They should have at least people that can push. They may not win it, but at least give a stiff challenge. Am I expecting them to win the league in the next 4 years? No. Because the teams like Manchester, well, I don't want to mention Manchester United. Well, the teams like Man City, I'm a Man U fan, but hey, I'm a realistic guy too. The teams like Man City, the teams like Liverpool, the teams like Chelsea, and the teams like Liverpool, I hate saying that. But they already have head start in terms of players, continuity, gelling, tactics, everything. Everybody knows what is good. We are not bringing fresh faces for them to just to figure out stuff. So yeah, sorry.
Okay. Good comment. So we are going to change.
Can I just make comments in relation to what you guys are saying about FFP? There's an article on the Athletic today. I read today. FFP won't hold them back because Mike Ashley has done a good job of letting them be debt free. They've been declaring profits for the past 2 or 3 seasons. So according to that article, the limit of money that FFP will start looking into them is when they spend over 200 million. So they actually have 200 million to play around with before FFP comes into it for Newcastle in this season and next season. Yes, there's an article. I can send the article to you. They actually analyzed it and said, Mike Ashley, because he was being so stingy, actually the Newcastle's books are a very good health. So FFP won't hold them back because they can actually spend up to 200 million before FFP gets involved. So FFP at this stage won't hold them back.
So it's true. It is true that statement is true. But I'm going to tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, that Newcastle is not going to spend 200 million in January.
They won't. But they can. They can, but they won't. Yeah.
They won't. They probably will spend a bulk of the money in what do you call it, in the summer. Yeah. They're going to get in a lot of free players. I mean, I know that people are talking about Alexander Lacazette from Arsenal, who is going to be able to go on a Bosman. Martial. So there are players that they're going to get that are going to strengthen the current squad. But I don't. There's a lot of people there's a lot of news articles, and I've listened to some people on TalkSport who are like, "Oh, Newcastle can spend 200 million pounds in January," and I'm like, "No, nobody's going to spend 200 million. And if they decide to spend it, it's because they have money to throw around." But the idea is Newcastle is going to be run in a sustainable fashion, which means that there's going to be an injection of funds at a steady rate. They're going to increase their revenue and let Newcastle be a sustainably growing club from the perspective of maybe at the end of every season, they will have maybe $75 million for transfers regularly. So I don't think this is going to be a situation where they're just going to blow everything out of the water. I think that there's going to be a steady case. And I don't think any fan is actually thinking that all of this stuff, most of this hyper excitement is coming from fans that are no longer Newcastle, that are not Newcastle fans. Newcastle fans understand what the scope is, and I think that Amanda Staveley and the rest of the team are doing a good job of setting expectations.
Then you say you had a question.
I have a question. So pretty much the prince of Saudi Arabia comes there, and one of the princes comes there and buy your club. He buys the club. Do you think he has 3-4 years just for him to chill and be pumping steady money and not gain any return in terms of either trophy or fighting for something?
I don't think that.
I don't
Go
think
on.
those get into that type of business without saying, okay, yes, we know that Newcastle was the 17th, but we are pumping in money, knowing that with money you can almost buy everything. You can't buy everything, you can almost get somewhere with money. So listen, this is my question to you as a Newcastle fan. Like, how long do you think that your owners can stay without seeing, when I mean steady progress, there is steady progress from you being 17th to 16th. No, that is not a steady progress for these people. From 17th, you have to be able to jump to 13th with the injection of money and players. So that's what I'm saying. Owner, just put yourself in like the shoes of the owner, and based on what you've been hearing, how long do you think they are going to stay and just be chilling and not winning anything? Or
So I'll give you an indication of what to expect because Amanda Stavely had an interview that came out this morning and in UK time, I guess, where they asked her like, where do you see yourself in 4 to 5 years? And she said that we have to be challenging. If we're not challenging, then I probably will not be running the club. So there's an expectation that there is going to be progress and it's going to be fast. But there's also an expectation that there are teams in the Premiership right now that have a strong foundation and are doing quite well. And for you to be able to compete with those kinds of clubs, you have to set your own foundation right. They had pictures from 2 seasons ago where Newcastle players were sitting inside a big bucket with ice. Meanwhile, in the Manchester City training grounds, they have AI-driven, whatever, to help players, oxygen tanks and whatever. So Newcastle is way behind on all of that. There's no way the Prince of Saudi Arabia and the guy who is running Manchester City is also a prince, right? And so when they initially started by throwing money at Manchester City, it wasn't as successful as what they have right now, where they are building the foundation and they have players coming through the academy. And, they have some incredible players that are going to be coming in, and some of them have already started playing. Didn't one of them score a hat-trick against Newcastle last season? And I was going to Ferran Torres, and I was going, who the hell is this guy? They have stars that are coming in from the academy, and at that point, they're going to stop relying on having to spend 100, 200 million to get some of the biggest stars.
Okay, so I think from Newcastle, for sake of time, let me first introduce Itata. Thanks for joining us. We came right at the quick transition. I'll get your quick thoughts, what you expect. Before I do that, let me just run through the comments because there are a lot, and it's just one person. It says, ready to see Pep in 2024. That would be interesting. Conte is a good thought. I can see that more. If they're promising the funds, I think I'll just jump some of the comments because it looks like they can spend 200 million easy. That's why I see Conte. We'll see about that. Conte will fall out of everybody after like 1 year. They can jump from 7 to 10 easily. It's achievable with 200 million. Okay, this 200 million, this guy just keeps saying, check it out from 8 to 11. I think if they have Conte and spend 200, he can start a journey success. We'll see about that. I don't know if it's a builder. We'll see about
I'm just going to say one last thing about that 200 million. There are clubs that have spent 200 million and gotten relegated.
Absolutely.
Fulham. So it's not just the money. You have to have the team. If you have a team filled with mercenaries, once you get relegated, these people are going to go and find another club to go and join. So it's not just the money. That's all I have to say.
Itata, what are your quick thoughts? What do you expect to see Newcastle in the next two to three seasons?
First of all, I apologize to the group. I'm an African living in North America, and there is something when you pair an African with time. I'm joking, but I had to do a couple of things. I had to do a couple of things that could kind of spilled over time.
No problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
So with Newcastle, wow, we all remember when City, the Prince, is it the Dubai setup when they got City, and we remember when Roman got Chelsea. This thing is just a matter of time. Like my brother Raji has said, they'll need to build a foundation. It will come. The kind of money that is behind this project, it's inevitable they'll build that foundation. When they build it, the success will definitely come. Again, the proof is in Chelsea. You've seen Chelsea, you've seen City, you've even seen Manchester United. When you're backed by money and it's spent intentionally and wisely, I think success is inevitable. The only issue here is Newcastle is not like Newcastle is in France or in Norway. It's in the Premier League where there are other teams that are heavily backed who are grounded in success. It will take time. It will need a lot of patience, but that success is inevitable. Now, I know I'm saying within 5 to 6 years, they probably will be knocking on the EPL, but within 10 years, they're going to have a strong shot for the Champions League. It's inevitable.
Okay.
That's just what I see.
I kind of agree with you. I kind of agree with your comments. Let's move on to, I guess, one of the conceptual, Twitter debates, social media wars, whatever you want to call it, type topic that we have to, and we're starting the first one for this is with top 10 current managers. So we did a poll among the panel. Some of them are not here. It was a poll that involved like 12 to 15 people. All sent me the votes, collected the results, and the results are in. Very interesting results that we have here, some of them. So what we are going to do now, for the sake of time, is I'll list from 10 to 6. I'll just list them. Then 5th to 1st is where we'll have a conversation. If anybody has any opposition, who they think should be there, and all. So 10th on the list is somebody I feel somebody else should be on there, but people put in there is Carlo Ancelotti. He came in 10th on the list. 9th on the list is Jose Mourinho. He came 9th on the list based on all the votes that came in. 8th on the list, and that's the one I'm like, wow, I am shocked, was Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte is 8th on the list. I thought it should be higher, but we're not discussing. We'll move on. 7th on the list, based on the votes, was Roberto Mancini. He came 7th on the list. 6th on the list, and just missed out by a flicker on 5th. By literally by one vote, he missed out on one vote. It's Diego Simeone. Diego came 6th. So 5th on our list, and that's the one I open on discussion, is Thomas Tuchel. Any objections, agreement? Should it be higher? Should it be lower, and why? And who wants to go first?
I think you as the moderator actually point out people first on this.
Yeah.
Take charge of this conversation because it's about to go.
It's about to go, huh? Okay.
Yeah, moderator.
Moderate this.
You started, so go ahead. Go.
From 6 to 10, that is it needs spiritual intervention.
But let's talk about 5th. Tuchel. Before you talk, quickly in the comments, someone jumped and said Conte is better. Should be higher than Tuchel. Okay, tell us why, Johannu. Tell me why Conte should be higher than Tuchel on the list.
Let me go first. Okay. And I'll set it up like this. Let me set it up like this. Your question asks for winning, longevity, influence on the game.
Correct.
And relevant, right?
Correct, yes. I should have said that. Yeah, I should have said that. So we did this list. Let me just put that out there. We did this list based on body of work, which I broke down into longevity, how long they've been in the game, their influence on the game, football as a whole, trophies, of course, style of play, and I think the last one was resources that they have, based on the resources that they have available. Of course, and when I mean that, I mean some coaches have have endless resources. Some just have medium resources, and based on what they produce. Okay, so go, Yemi.
Okay, based on that,
Number 5.
I like this institution. I do. One of the best young minds in the game. I don't think so. He's not young anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
But this, I don't think he should be there.
You don't think he's in top 5?
I don't think he should be top 5 in terms of all criteria. Now,
Okay.
remove winning. If you say presently, the coach, I mean, like we're talking about this in the influence on the game. Does he have all this influence on the game like a guy like Mourinho, Bielsa? These are people that have influence. Now, this we can say this: Bielsa does not have as much as him in terms of resources. Bielsa worked it pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay, it's a game of opinions, and that's why I didn't want to put any metrics to say which one has more weight. I just wanted people to make up their mind.
I just
That's why I
wanted
put that.
to put that in there so that at least now this moving on in the conversation, everybody remembers that. I love Tuchel. He is one of my top 3-4 coaches right now. But like if you're looking at your metrics, him being 5th, I want to know who is 4th on the top. Yeah.
So if you had to put somebody else from 6 to 10 and replace Tuchel, who would you put?
Conte ahead of him.
Conte.
I'm putting Ancelotti ahead of him because of the body of work and the trophies won. How many Champions League does Tuchel have? How many
Just-
Champions League does this in homeboy has? Ancelotti has. As a player, as a coach.
Coach, we're not regarding player as a coach.
I'm Mr. Itata. You are Italiano to the core. How many Champions League does Ancelotti have? And how many
3.
players?
I know
How
he
many
has at
players-
least 2. Well, I think that the right number is 3. I know he has at least 2. I know he has 2. at
And
least.
because how many players has come under him and are coaching now and actually influencing?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a strong point.
Good point.
I'm done.
Okay. Tata, you want to? Okay. Because I don't want to spend. These two
yeah.
people, we don't have to chime.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have to chime in on each category, but let me know if you want to chime in. If you want to chime in, just do it quickly.
If you wanna create an argument against Conte, the main argument you probably be he's found success, minor success with Chelsea, but his major success has been with Juventus, and he doesn't spend too long in other clubs. His average time with other clubs is 1.2 years. He spent most of his career with Juventus. So this question then becomes how transferable are his coaching skills outside the comfort of being in Juventus. I would put Jose Mourinho over Conte because you could see that irrespective of where he's gone, he's been able to win stuff, and he's been able to he's been able to transfer his skills from one league to the other. Same thing with Carlo Ancelotti. We're not talking about the people. Those people were higher in my list. But I would say that Thomas Tuchel, I don't know, he was lower in my list as well because he's cool, but I don't think he's been there long enough for me to think that he should be higher than some of the people who've won the most.
Okay. Yes. Just to check. You had Tuchel as number 7. Okay. Go ahead. Next person.
I was going to say regarding Conte, why I wouldn't have Conte high on that list. His European pedigree is incomparable to Tuchel, for example. Thomas Tuchel got to 2 Champions League final back to back. Conte is good at winning league titles, but in Europe, ask yourself, what's the furthest has he even gone in any of the European competitions? He has not even gotten to a final.
Quarterfinal.
Huh? Quarterfinal.
Yeah.
Quarterfinal, that's what I mean. So we're talking about Tuchel, who got to back-to-back Champions League final, lost one in which I think PSG actually played a bit better than Bayern that day, and then won the other one, Chelsea against Man City, by outwitting Pep Guardiola in the final. So Thomas Tuchel deserves to be in the top 5 in my opinion. Conte is where he should be. His European pedigree is not up to scratch. So
that's the reason why I didn't put Conte on my list at all.
Okay, yes, you didn't have him. That's true. I just
Same thing with me. I didn't have Conte on my list at all, and I don't think he deserves to be in top 10.
Okay.
For someone with that terrible European pedigree, he does not.
Mm-hmm.
He last season he won the Serie A versus Perlo, but he was disgraced out of the Champions League group stage. How can you be a coach and be losing in the Champions League group stages? And that's not the
Wow.
first time.
Yeah.
That's not
Mhm.
the first time.
Okay,
brother.
back to back. It happened back to back.
That's not the first
It
time.
happened back to back.
Last
Brother,
year, look at the caliber of team that disgraced him: Shakhtar Donetsk and Borussia Mönchengladbach. He finished last in a group that has Shakhtar Donetsk and Borussia Mönchengladbach. Not only that,
Those are facts.
let's go to a year before. He
Those are
could not
facts.
qualify in a group with Borussia Dortmund again.
Yeah.
And even when he was Juventus coach, he was sent out of the group stage by Galatasaray.
Yeah.
How can you be a good coach and be claiming that? A Galatasaray that had Drogba that went to retire, and Wesley Sneijder and Philippe de Melo. Conte shouldn't even be in that conversation at all.
This
So-
brother, yeah, we can do.
No, because
Those are facts.
Hey, bro, man.
the farthest he has
Bro,
gone
it
was
looks like you have a notepad there that you wrote
no.
all
The
these things
farthest he
down.
has gone in the Champions League was to lose home and away to Bayern Munich in 2013. That's the best record in the Champions League in the quarterfinal. So we cannot be if we are going to drop Tuchel. I have Tuchel in my top 5. But if we are going to be dropping Tuchel, we should be considering people like I don't like Mourinho at all, but I will consider someone like Mourinho there. I will consider an Ancelotti. I will even consider Diego Simeone, but not Conte, please.
And that is
Let me take this comment. Let me take this comment. Then we'll move. Let somebody else talk. Conte is the winner anytime. I was able to achieve with the same team. I still have to struggle with. Conte brought Tuchel formation to EPL. I don't think so.
I think the irony of that statement is he brought the formation. He brought the formation to the EPL, but Tuchel took that formation and won the Champions League with it.
Correct.
So-
Exactly. That's
I'm waiting
the
for you,
irony
man.
of that. That's a good point. But I also wanted to say back three has been used long before Conte came. I mean, but now
Yeah, long before that. Yeah.
long time ago.
But if you say make it successful, okay, yes. I think Tuchel was first. Sorry, Conte was the first person to win the Premier League with the back three. Joannu says, believe Tuchel can do better without those money. Conte had teams that
Well,
teams.
someone that coached Juve and Chelsea and Inter Milan cannot be complaining about money teams.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had
the argument is that
that's why I fell out with Inter because they were selling they would sell Lukaku and sell players, and he said, "Nope, I'm gone." So yeah, that argument.
the big irony about his statement also is that Conte was the coach of Chelsea and Tuchel is the current coach of Chelsea, so he can't argue the money in that scenario.
And someone to contest coach Juve. So how can you coach Juve and be complaining about money?
Yeah.
And immediately left Juve. Actually, they went to Champions League final when Conte was getting disgraced in the Champions League. His immediate successor, Allegri, went to the Champions League final
Twice.
Yes,
went twice. He was there twice. Should we move on to number 4?
Oh, he
Well,
does.
I was
Okay,
let me say something.
please.
Tuchel. For me, I think it's a case of whatever food is in front of you that you're eating tastes the best. Tuchel is current now. That's why we're really talking about him. And I think 3 of those criteria carry weight: influence, body of work, and trophies. I'm not about I'm not a Mourinho fanboy. I don't hate him.
Yeah.
But my position with Mourinho is recognition. He has to be at the very top of that list with everybody considered. Just based off of those 3 criteria. If you're talking about influence
Based off of his resume.
he
has won everywhere. Except
you have to understand, I'm going to pick out a section in his career. 2002, 2003. Mourinho won the UEFA Cup with FC Porto, right? 2003, 2004, he won the European Champions League. That's back-to-back European Cups from, winning the UEFA Cup to winning the Champions League. Mourinho was assistant coach to Bobby Robson. Bobby Robson coached England at the 86 and 1990 World Cups. So you're looking at the body of work and influence. When this guy came to the Premier League, Chelsea conceded 10 goals in a season. All of these things we are praising. This guy has his fingers all over football. And I personally think on that list, he should be either 1 or 2. Just on that list.
So
But
I'm
again,
going
I'm not a
to.
fanboy. I'm not a fanboy, and I don't hate him. It's just based off of recognition.
So I'm going to interject real quick.
Yeah.
I have Jose Mourinho as number 4.
Yeah.
But the reason why I have him as number 4 is because Jose Mourinho's style of football does not match what we currently have. And as a result, he's not seen the success that he saw in the 2004. Yeah. So he plays 4-2-3-1 most of the time, and he plays 4-3-3 once in a while. But most of the time, Jose Mourinho is a defense-focused coach in a world where people are trying to put a lot of pressure and try to force the goals. So he feels like a dinosaur. And it's the same thing with Rafa Benitez. And the same thing with a coach like Diego Simeone. So I totally accept your fact, and for me, he's the top 5 manager of all times. But you have to look at the new coaches and how they're thinking, and as a result of that, you can't be stagnant. You got to move on, and that's the reason why he's not
Have
number
you
one.
have you seen Roma play this season?
Let's move.
Let's move on. Okay.
There's
Number 4 on the
something
list.
about this list, bro. There's something. Okay.
There's number 4 on the list is Hansi Flick.
Flick.
Hansi Flick came in at number 4 on the list. Yeah, he got like 5 votes. He came in as number 4 on the list.
What?
I did vote for Hansi Flick as top 4. Because we do.
Me,
I did.
I voted for Hansi Flick 10.
Surprise,
He was
surprise.
10th. He was 10th for me.
I did.
The Bayern fan, Mr. Bayern, of course.
A lot of people voted for him. In other lists,
I did.
voted for him. People that are not on, voted for Hansi Flick. So I'll say Hansi Flick. What he
I
won
did.
he won the
The
sex
podium.
people, right? He won everything. His first managerial
treble.
job. Yeah, he won the treble.
Second sextuple in history.
Yeah, he won sextuple. He won the German league again last season. So in a very short time, he's come and he's like flying. He's already going to work with German national team already. I'm giving the pros of why people have Hansi Flick, right? I know that you probably know on body of work, but those trophies are heavy. Does it put your trophy? One who said that? Your guy, Ola.
Ferdinand said, put your trophies.
It was on table. No, I think it was first that
Graham Souness. It was Graham
That's why I said
Souness.
Ola, your guy.
And your Ferdinand, guy.
Put your medals on the table.
Put your medals.
I think Patrice
Your
Evra did
Ferdinand
it.
said, put your trophies on the table. Walk up the passes, all your trophies.
Correct. And you have to also think, and I think for 3 things: trophies, body of work. You have to remember that he was the main tactical brain behind that German World Cup win. Like this is out there. The articles about it was not behind that. Resources, Dayo can testify. Bayern was struggling in the league. They were struggling with their former manager. I forgot his name. They were struggling. They were like, I think 4th. They were like 3rd with Kovac. So I mean, the floor is yours. In my opinion, I'll start with Dayo. Dayo, why do you think he deserves to be there? Let's start with the 4.
I think it deserves to be there because when we are evaluating coaches, you will see that more recent winners take a priority over people that have not been relevant for a long time. And that thought worked against people like Mourinho, to me, worked against people like Ancelotti, and worked against people like Benitez. If we were having this conversation in 2007, there's no way Mourinho will not be top 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But because it has been a while, so that's why we are considering Tuchel has won Champions League, Flick has won Champions League, Klopp has won Champions League. Mourinho and Ancelotti have 3 and 2, and they are way below them because what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
So Tuchel, Hansi Flick, for his style, for the work he did with the German national team, for winning this treble just 2 seasons ago, and that's why I think he deserves to be there.
Can I say something? Because I feel like in as much as at least I'm hearing the list and the names that are coming up, the Flicks, the Justin Tuchel recent, and they are doing great. And if what was asked was who are the the relevant coaches now in this present era.
Yeah.
That would have been a
But
different.
that was it. But how you actually specified best coaches in the world now. Now.
No. Okay, he said best coaches in the world now, but now we have to look at body of work.
But doesn't mean a body of work should be
And
very criteria
title.
to look at, right? Yeah, titles, other stuff.
Titles, I mean, like, so what is? So again, because I'm hearing all these names, because now I think it's English, where like I feel like yes, in as much as they are relevant now, but should we now throw away those people that have done it in the past and are still coaching? Because
Yeah, but they're on the list. That's why they're on the list.
Yeah,
That's why those guys are actually on the
That's
list.
why they are suppressed.
Yeah.
But they're still on the list. Wow. They're still on the list now. You can't complain that they're there. They're in the top 10.
This is a poll for 15 people. This is a poll. All of this was voted and I collated and I'm giving the results, you know. But yeah, that's a fair point from Yemi. Raji.
But what I'll say is this. I have Hansi Flick as number 10. His body of work is just too small. It could have just been a situation where you have a lightning spark and all of a sudden everything, because of the last coach, all of a sudden everything just clicks and everybody starts to play well. I can't imagine Hansi Flick being regarded as a better coach than Jose Mourinho right now. But I am curious to see what his future is. I'm willing to see how he does as the head coach of the German club. And in that scenario, we'll see. I would be willing to change my mind in time. But having him just come out of being the sports director for the team and coaching the team, all of a sudden he's now number 4. I think that's such a huge jump over Roberto Mancini.
2 years. We're just talking about 2 seasons. 2
seasons
of
Can you flip back? Ola, you flipped. Your thing flipped.
Yeah, we're talking of 2 seasons of like sublime.
Oh, it's frozen.
Sublime football, though. I mean, there's no. That's all. Okay. I'm like he won 6. He won 6 trophies. We can't throw that away in one season.
No need to throw that away. I'm just saying that I need a bigger window.
It's good. Good argument.
A bigger window.
Him being 4th, and again, unless if the question was rewritten, where we are talking about most relevant coaches now, that one is nobody can argue.
I think Yemi, I think what you did is you are skewing the weighting more towards body of work. Right? You don't have to always do that.
Yeah,
I think that's what you are doing. You don't have to always do that. That's why added trophies. That's why added resources, style of play.
But with trophies, though, if we're talking about it with trophies, Flick hasn't won more than Mourinho. Flick hasn't won more than Conte.
Correct, but that's why I said I added all these criteria. But you also have to use the fact that football is like the last 5 years. What have you done for me lately? Like you said, and that's what I was thinking of. Like, but at the same time, just for the sake of the good discussion, I wanted people to, however way they see the opinion, they should skew it there. It's fine. It's an opinion. There's no. This award doesn't exist anyway. It doesn't. The only time it exists is when FIFA hands it out, or it doesn't really exist. Number 3 on our vote is Zinedine Zidane, who is currently not coaching. Like I'll read out his resume, of course, right? I think he has 3 back-to-back Champions League. Nobody has done it ever. Back-to-back. Has 2 La Liga titles, and I think he has one. That's
no.
I got this. The polls.
I mean, who are these people who are voting for Zinedine Zidane? Roberto Mancini won the World Cup. He won the World Cup. Zinedine Zidane, he's just the coach for Real Madrid.
He won the Euros.
He won World Cup. Which World Cup?
Which World Cup?
Raji won the Euros.
Italy now?
No, they won the Euros. That was not the World Cup.
Euros, sorry. He won the Euros. He won the Euros with Italy. He changed the fundamental character of the Italian team.
Okay.
I don't understand how Zinedine Zidane is number 3. Really? Number 3?
3 Champions League titles.
3 champions. If we use the argument about what have you done for me lately, he shouldn't even be there, because when did he win the last?
He won La Liga.
He won La Liga too last season. The season before last season. Yeah.
Man, really. Oh, all right, it's fine.
You value international. It's only if you say you value international football.
No, I value international. No, because you got to value international. Euros is one of the most difficult. It's one of the most difficult competitions to win. The Euros.
Do you think it's more difficult than Champions League?
No.
You know what?
Okay.
You know
that ends the discussion. I think.
It depends.
Let me hear what it is.
Because Champions League, you have the run yearly. The Euros, you have the run every 4 years.
Okay.
So to put together a team every 4 years and then finally get to win it, it's difficult. That's how I look at it.
True.
Don't forget also Itata. That these guys they don't have as much time with the players as they do as the club coaches have. And you are saying you are changing the fundamental way Italy plays within a small window. That's a lot more work than what Zinedine did.
Okay. So let me ask this question, and I think this will just solve it will solve this question, or like all the way.
Which one is more competitive?
Which one? Okay, yeah, you got me. Which one is higher?
More competitive.
No, just higher in terms of. So how do you grade it?
I think Champions League is harder than Euros.
Champions.
Because clubs are because clubs are having to go against clubs that are putting together like stacked squads that already spent millions of pounds. Like over the years, Zidane won 3 Champions League against teams that had to go and put pieces that spent millions of pounds to fix their problems, and he went again and won it, and went again and won it. I think that's extremely impressive.
I'm sorry, but Real Madrid was spending millions of pounds fixing their own problems too. Yeah, so it's not as if
they're not the first. My point is like they're not the first. Like we know teams that spend millions of pounds. I mean, City have thrown PSG project. If none of them, this guy won 3 in a row.
They've not won it. They've not won it since he left.
Yes.
Did he win the Spanish league in that period?
Yes.
He won it twice.
He won once in that. He won twice.
Twice. He won 2 La Liga.
Before him, nobody has defended the Champions League, and he did it 3 times.
I personally don't. I put international football. I try to separate it from club football. I think international football is sacred. Maybe it's because I grew up on international football.
Yeah.
I never try to compare it. Now I can compare the Champions League with, and I mean Champions League stands alone compared to Libertadores and any other thing. But I just think international football is a different ball game entirely. I think it's unfair to compare it, and especially the Euros every 4 years. And like Raji has said, Italy have had a football culture of over 1 century. To change it within 38 match window is incredible, and to change it and then back it up with a major title.
Yeah,
Italy typically win with their all round, like I usually put it, let's defend Rome. When they get in that mode, they've won 3 World Cups in that mode. So to just change it in 38 games with over 100 players, using over 100 players experimenting, I think it's incredible. It's a remarkable achievement.
I think Mancini should have been higher. I think it should have been higher. Not just for that. They have the they have the longest unbeaten record of any national team. They broke that record under Mancini too. So not just that they won the Euros. They actually broke the record for the longest unbeaten record for our national team.
Personally, it might be a little controversial, but I don't rate the Euros that high. Are you saying we are just a Saka penalty from Southgate being the best also? Like, it's Didier Deschamps won the World Cup. Nobody has him in their top 10. So
okay, I think the Euros are more difficult to win than the World Cup because you have
Brazil.
No, but I'm talking about it. You're talking about teams that are relatively within the same region of strength. We're talking about Germany versus England, England versus Denmark, Netherlands versus France. These countries have talent and they have the ability to win. All of them could win. All right?
So,
compared to the World Cup. The World Cup is okay, you bring in a couple of teams from South America and you bring a couple of teams under-resourced teams from Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. And all of a sudden, a team that England is cruising through the finals because they can find. There was no easy game in that Euro, especially after you get into the quarterfinals. There was no easy game.
That's true.
No easy game.
Well, I disagree. I disagree though, because Euro is basically World Cup is basically the Euro plus two of the best team in the world, Argentina and Brazil. You will play a Euro, you never see a Messi in the Euro, and you are winning something that Messi never contributed to, and you're saying you want something, or Pelé,
No,
or Ronaldo.
that's not how you should look at it. You're looking at it from some of the best players in the world are going to play in the World Cup. I'm saying that all the teams in the Euros are good, and each team in that Euro game was able to give Switzerland versus France. Who would have thought at the beginning of the game that Switzerland would beat France? 3-1, all of a sudden 3-3. These teams are they are close. You know, France is a better team than Switzerland, but they are close. Are you trying to tell me that Paraguay or say Nigeria and France are close? No, come on, man. Let's not beat around the bush.
No,
bringing Brazil and Argentina into Euros doesn't make the World Cup better. It doesn't.
And that's an argument for that's a topic I'm going to put in the backlog for like conceptual podcast, like World Cup, Euros. How do you judge it? Because but personally for me, I just rate club football because I feel like it's more. You spend the fact that you spend more time with them, and they have to keep them consistent, and like over like 10 months is even harder because you have to keep them consistent during that period, right? You can have teams like Greece that will come with a clear tactical plan and win Euros in 2004. It doesn't mean Greece were declared the best team there at that point in time. And I'm not taking anything from Martini. It's a fantastic achievement. I really do think so. I think it's so incredible when we look at modern day football that involved probably two of the best players we've seen in our lifetime, and also that involved more complex teams. Right? Champions League, in my opinion, has become incredibly harder to win just because our defenses are more complex. Football is not as simple as it used to be back in the days. There's more data, there's more information. So to win 3 times in a row, I mean that's madness, in my opinion. When you think about it, especially in this era, like in the in this era, I think that's incredible.
But these things have hold on. These things have happened before. Red Star Belgrade and Eindhoven have won the Champions League before. Yes, competing with this, it's happened before. It's just now football has expanded. You have competitions that were 12 teams, now they're like 32 teams. Right. But it's happened. Football has always been the same. To be honest,
I don't think so. I disagree. It has become more complex. I think so. The tactics behind it more complex. It's not.
I think if you give the argument that the tactics of the Champions League, and you have teams that are who have better chemistry, and as a result, it's more difficult to win. I think Champions League is more difficult to win, and you know what? I'll give it to him. Okay. Sure, it's fine. I will not argue.
I think this next number 2 on our list is very simple. I don't think there's much.
Comments first. Do we have any interesting comments?
This guy was like, "Oh, he's Zidane." Okay. I guess he doesn't agree with Zidane. World Cup first, champions, Euro. Well, he has a different opinion.
Yeah,
World
Cup is sacred for me too.
I think
it's just personal.
Zidane. No, I agree. He won during the 2 years. I think he's talking about the La Liga conversation.
Yeah. I think if number 2 is Jurgen Klopp, then we have no problem. But if it's Pep Guardiola, then it's going to be a problem. Okay.
Number 2 on the list is Klopp. And out of everybody on this
sacrilege. Fix, rig. This is a fake election. I am going to the court. I am going to the Supreme Court. No. This is rigging. I am going to take all of you to Supreme Court. I'm not having it.
Tell us why Klopp should be higher.
Okay, boss. Now, since you're a Liverpool fan, how about you tell us your true intentions? Where do you think Klopp should be in this ranking?
He should be number 1 based on longevity, based on influence, maybe not based on trophies, but longevity, because let me tell you, if you look at his backstory from Mainz, if you go and check what that club was in Germany, Dyer will tell you this was a club that were terrible, even in the second division. Klopp took them from that second division to the Bundesliga, which is a miracle in itself. And not only he took them, he kept them up.
True.
Kept them up. Eventually, they got relegated, but at least they stayed up for a few years before they got relegated. Then he went to Dortmund, who were a sleeping giant. Dortmund, who had not won Bundesliga before that time, won it back to back, managed to break the monopoly of Bayern Munich, and since he left, they've not won the Bundesliga. He even got them to the Champions League final. Okay, granted, he lost it to Bayern, but Bayern, of course, were always going to be favorites for that. And then he came to Liverpool, sleeping giant, 25 years, 26 years, 27 years, 28 years, 29 years, no Premier League title. Who broke it? Jurgen Klopp. Without being the richest club in the country, without having all the resources some of his counterparts are having, and then took us to back-to-back Champions League finals. Took us to Europa League final. People will say, okay, he lost, but at least he got us relevant again. And while look at our net spend. Liverpool's net spend in the 5 years he has been there. He has been spending 18 million per year net spend because he keeps having to sell to buy because our owners are stingy. Yeah, and you're telling me that Pep Guardiola, who has access to billions of euros everywhere he goes, is better than Klopp. Please tell me another story. Please.
Oladimeji, are you trying to tell us that Newcastle should poach Jurgen Klopp? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh yeah, you can have him after us. You can have him after us. Please. He's leaving in 2 years' time. You can have him. But by that time, he probably will win something else before he leaves. But you can have him, honestly. You guys you'll be so happy to have him. Honestly.
Since we have the argument about Klopp, and it's Klopp and Pep, right? Let me just go. Number one news, of course, is Pep Guardiola. So Raji, tell us your argument.
Well, I think I understand your perspective, and I think that Jurgen Klopp, you could make a good argument that Jurgen Klopp should be number one. But I personally think that it's Pep Guardiola. At this point,
by the way, 15 out of 15, Klopp got only 2 votes as number one, which is Ola and Oga Kwame. With Jola, some of them as Jola. The rest of the 15, 13, everybody chose Pep.
I mean, if 30 people are choosing, you've got to accept that this is universal truth. Yeah. I mean, at least
they've been blinded by the bling bling. They've been blinded by the bling bling. Somebody who has been at the richest club in every country he has been in, and you're telling me he has. What kudos are we giving him because he has been at the richest club in every single country he has been in? And he's in Man City 5 years, not winning them. How can he not win the Champions League since he has been at Man City? 5 years now, and he got to only one final and then lost it. And you're telling me
the reason why he's going to all the big clubs is because people realize that he's very good. Correct. So it's not a situation where people are just random. Yeah, I was a raffle.
So it's the reason why they wait at.
Because of how good he is.
Can I say it this way? You're talking about a guy that has revolutionized football since his time in Baka. Bro, his imprint on football will last longer than him.
Yeah, I mean, did you hear about Genge pressing before Klopp came into football? Did you know what Genge pressing was?
It wasn't called Genge pressing, but that time.
Yeah, but he didn't invent it, but he made it popular. No, that's what I'm saying. His influence. But hold on, he made it relevant to our generation. He made it relevant to our generation. Are you telling me he doesn't have any influence?
Which is true. That is a side of football. Genge pressing is not all football. It's not all about football. Genge pressing is football, but there are a billion ways you could play. What Pep did to football was he changed the mindset of coaching and approaching of the game. This guy from Baka, listen. Genge pressing is solid. I'm a club fan. I really wish, my prayer, I fasted and prayed, but God didn't. No. I want a club in Manchester United. If I have one power to do one juju, I'm not going to bring Pep. I'm going to bring Klopp to Manchester United. But that is not going to happen because our owners love Ole to a fault. But we are talking about, let us be open now. Let us just be open. A lot of people have sampled Pep's football. We are talking of the modern day coaches and the older coaches. We are talking of from the likes of Cruyff to Bielsa. After Bielsa, I don't think there's anybody that has been more sampled in terms of football and people that have learned on that, like Pep.
Okay. Dio, you have to talk. That's your
Actually, I came here to defend Pep, but that was the only reason behind it. But at 13-2, even though I'm a Pep fan, I don't think the gap is that wide. Body of work, I think, is closer than we think. Like last week, Pep was saying the only reason he's still a coach is because Jurgen Klopp is there. And
let me talk a little bit. Raji has to leave. Raji, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll keep
See you,
watching.
Raji.
Hope we see you more. Obviously, you more.
Invite me, I'll be here. Oh, by the way, you guys should check out my podcast. It's called Movie Mistrial. So I host a different podcast. It's called Movie Mistrial, and you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, on Facebook at Movie Mistrial. Thank you very much for having me.
Send me the link. I'll plug it in.
Yeah, the link.
Sure thing.
The link.
I will do that. Bye.
All right. Take care. Thanks.
All right, bro.
So I believe the gap between Pep and Klopp, they are the two best managers in the world, no doubt. Like when we're watching the Man City and Liverpool, we're like, okay, these are the two best managers, and that is, they have put a gulf between them and the next set of people, and they have impacted the game in different ways. Pep with his tiki-taka, multiple touching, and Klopp with few touches, get pressing, direct football, like high octane, 100km/h football. Like
you must have energy and six-pack.
You must be fit. You must be fit to play for Klopp.
Run through the wall. They have their own styles. They have conflicting styles, and they keep improving each other. Pep, I believe, would have benefited a lot from Klopp's gegenpressing, how to press and snuff life out of people, and quick transitions. And Klopp will have gained from Pep that, okay, it's not all the time you run. You have to retain a little bit. Both of them still keep, every day they keep innovating. So that's why their games are usually interesting, like a chess match. Like, okay, look at last game. Pep was beating Klopp down the first half. Like, okay, it was just a matter of time before Klopp dies. And he just sprung something on him. And that he countered too. Like, it's just we are blessed to see these two guys. And, wherever they are, they brought their rivalry from Germany, they brought it to England, and they work under different circumstances. We have to agree to that. And, well, if you try to make one a weakness, it can also speak to the other person too. For example, Pep likes certain type of players. You will not say, okay, just give him, I don't want
anybody,
Lukaku, and you just make it happen. No, he has his own type of players that he wants. He likes technical players. They don't have to be tall. They don't have to be physical specimen. They can be short, but he has. Klopp likes players that are very not strong, but very fast and very athletic. He can work with
robust.
He can work with James Milner, Kevin Grotskreutz, Neven Subotic, Marcel Smelzer, Lars Bender, Jakub Blaszczykowski. People that became nobody immediately they left Klopp. But that's his style.
Became nobody. You're right. That's very true.
The trade-off is also that with Pep, because of what he demands, it gets little leeway. Okay, Pep, if you don't deliver a trophy in 1 year, you're a failure. Klopp goes to where he's allowed to work on projects. I don't see Klopp will not go to Real Madrid, will not go to Barcelona, will not go to Bayern Munich, where they'll be sitting on his neck, where somebody will be telling him or will be second guessing him already. It takes time to build teams into what he wants to see. Okay, we are all raving about Liverpool right now. In the first 2 years, everybody was yabbing Liverpool. Oh, Klopp, no trophy, Klopp, no trophy. Now everybody wants that result. But that result didn't take time. That result didn't come in the first year. It didn't come in the second year. And that's why I think if Klopp is leaving Liverpool, I'm thinking he will go to AC Milan. Sleeping giants, not won in a long time, and they will give him time. That's where I think, and that's what I have to say about this.
Tata, to end it.
Yeah, I would just say, just like the Cristiano Messi thing, we are just blessed, and like Dario has said, the gap is not wide.
Yeah, it's not.
It could easily be Pep 1, Klopp 1, Pep 2, It's extremely close, and I actually think the voting might be a little skewed. Because honestly, when I even put it down, I was like Pep Club Pep. It was almost a coin toss. It's just Pep just edges it because there
Because of
is
last season. I think that's what everybody's is last season. Because if you did this thing beginning of last season, Klopp would be number one.
yeah.
Because they just won Champions League and league.
It's extremely close. It's extremely close. And even I look at them like it's complementary. It's like if you take Pep out of the equation, Klopp might get bored. If you take Klopp out of it, Pep might get bored. Like they walk off of each other, like Dara said.
It's like
You
Messi,
know?
Ronaldo, right?
Yeah, it's like Messi Ronaldo thing. I'm just happy that we are able to see, two people who actually immerse themselves in football, who are willing to make this game relevant, who are willing to respect this game. And when I'm talking about that, I don't want people talking about Ole. We are not talking about that's not the kind of class of football we are talking about. Pep
Please.
and Klopp, yeah, Pep and Klopp. I'm extremely happy. I'm extremely happy for what they've been able to provide us with this football. Like they take football personal.
Correct.
And even when you watch them, just little tiny details how they react to maybe the ball going out of for throwing. You see Club animated pulling someone and trying to, it for them it's all about food. They don't care about transfer window. They don't care about controversy, Instagram, all of this. They don't care about that. They're solely focused on football. And that's why I'm saying it's a real small gap between both of them. And they stand alone, and it's a huge gulf and the rest of the coaches.
Correct. I agree. And to round up, I'll come to the end, but let me just say my quick comments of why I think Pep and why I chose Pep was, like you said, it's very, very tiny. But what Pep showed me last season, because I was at the beginning of last season, I was like, oh yeah, they're going to struggle. It looked like what he showed me when in December, he said they went back to basics, and essentially what he did is they started conceding less goals on counter attack, more controlled possession. And all of a sudden, they went to 25-game unbeaten run in the league, and they became the best defensive team in the league. And they still look like the best defensive team in the way. And it's not even just the clean sheets, because teams can block with clean sheets. The underlying stats and data supports it. They are conceding the least amount of shots on target, and that thing he showed me when he now went on to win the league just shows me. And the rumors are that his new assistant that he got, I can't remember, one Lilo, I think his name's called Lilo, the guy he got from South America that came up with those ideas. Those little fine margins, and Klopp has done his own too. I remember how he figured out the whole attacking from the wings thing for Liverpool, by getting Pep Lingers, right? I think that's his name, the assistant.
Yeah.
He figured out that thing. Those fine margins is what the elite of the elite coaches have figured out, because they know that everybody has resources, similar kind of resources here or there, similar in a way. Especially first 11, all the top teams have similar resources. Your ability to make those fine-tuned adjustments is what and that adjustment he made last season was like, wow. I was really impressed. Before I figured out that's what he was doing, and before everybody figured out it, I mean, they won like 11 games in a row. Their games became so boring. You'll be watching Man City like, what's going on? What's going on? They just keep on possession. Before you know, they just arrive at your box. Boom, good look at 1-0. It's like, oh, you try to attack them, they win the ball back. They just be passing the ball, so they didn't know what they are doing. They were protecting themselves from counter attacks. And that way they know that they have enough quality to create 3, 4, 5 chances and they'll score one. And they will not let you create, they'll hardly let you create any chance. They'll just suffocate you with the ball. So for me, that was the thing that made me like say, okay, these guys come back. Because people were kind of writing more after they lost the title to Liverpool. They looked like, oh, they were like drifting. They started to look poorly. I was like, oh, Pep, even me, I put my hands up. I doubted him. I was like, maybe Pep should take a sabbatical. That's what I was saying there. But when I saw that change he made, and they just all of a sudden went to Champions League final, won the league in the counter, and I was like, yes, this guy is the ability to stay at that level since 2008. I mean, I think that's incredible. This level of pressure.
And I'll say this, it's very intentional. I've seen the victory ceremony for Barcelona, for Bayern Munich, and for Man City. If you watch the victory ceremony, you see there are specific people responsible for specific things. If you see the coaching staff for Pep, during these victories is like a village. Did you see the victory ceremony where they were given the trophies?
Yeah.
At Bayern, at Barcelona, at City, they come out as like 10, 15 different folks.
Yeah.
And I know they're responsible for specific things.
Correct.
That's why I say they are these two coaches, Pep and Klopp, they're only really focused on football and they're immersed in it, and we are seeing the product. Everything is intentional.
Correct. We've come to the end of the pod. Kind of ran longer than I wanted, but it was a fun pod. Yemi, Dio, Ola, Itata, thanks for joining us. This was a good conceptual episode. International break. We're back next week for Premier League. Regular, discussion comes back next week. Like, share, subscribe, and we're out.
Yeah.